Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a video first swatching out the 8 free mystery inks which I recently got from Goulet, and as I said on a recent YouTube post, like, I don't care about your like stupid Reddit internet drama and like, modern day Salem witch hunt. Like, I'm not going to get into politics on my channel at all. So if you have a problem with me, like, getting this like free ink and like a couple of pens from Goulet also, which will be in the second segment of the video, just kindly unsubscribe from me or find something else to watch, because like I'm just really like creeped out and disturbed and like kind of like a little scared by the way so-called grown adults are behaving on Reddit. It's just like a whole cluster. What it's and it all because like guilt by association stuff. It just seems like the Salem witch hunt. But anyway, moving on, I have two, which I'm pretty sure these are on the purple spectrum. These are in the red spectrum. A few are shimmer inks, and these, I think they're all in the blue spectrum, although some might be a little bit like darker blue according to what I have, seen online. And I've got all, the swatch cards and my paintbrush and stuff, and I also have a sketch pad in front of me so I can like paint off some of the excess before I like rinse it out. I'm like totally about like preventing waste as much as possible. That's why I use a paintbrush instead of a cotton. But that just feels like it soaks up too much ink and wastes too much ink. So, paintbrush eliminates a little bit of the waste, and then, writing the name with the dip pen. And we're going to, see which ones I like the best. The first ink is called Tranquility from Diamine. This is a shimmer ink, and I love purple. This is, my absolute favorite color. I'm sure I'm going to like this ink. And Diamine is one of my, like, favorite ink brands. I haven't been, too, I guess, like, exploratory, getting into so many different ink brands, but of the ones I'm familiar with, definitely Diamine is probably in my, top three. So hope I'm not going to knock this over. Just put it over on the windowsill. That's better. Oh, that's kind of a lighter purple. It's nice. Let's see what happens when I lay down more of an ink. Yeah, it looks kind of like it's on the dry side. From what I've heard, some people think shimmer inks do tend to be a little bit drier by necessity because, the shimmer particles aren't, I guess they're not making it as like wet as some other inks. And because, of the nature of shimmer inks, I will have to shake it up before I lay down more. Oh, and I like the shimmer particles that I see already drying. They look kind of like coppery, sort of, or maybe like a kind of like reddish shade. So this is like really nice ink, but the writing sample sometimes looks much differently than the lay down. Oh, that's even nicer. Nice dark tranquility color. Really nice. I'm not sure, this would be like maybe a traditional purple, maybe kind of more of a reddish undertone, like on the lighter bit of the purple spectrum, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. This is pretty nice. And one more shake up, and then I will do the writing sample, or not the writing sample, just write the name on the swatch card, and I will, I guess, do some longer writing samples as well later. It's kind of hard to get the paintbrush all the way down into this bottle, but oh, that's even nicer and darker. Really, really nice. Wow. Wow, this is really, really nice and shimmery. Perhaps this ink would become a favorite. Wow, this is like a really, really nice color. I'm sorry I'm saying really nice so much, but I had never tried this before. It's good when people send you like free ink samplers, or even when you do it yourself, like step out of your comfort zone and do things you might not necessarily have like thought you would be interested in. Just don't like stick to, oh, I only like these colors and I can only ever like these colors, so I'm not going to even bother trying to, experiment with other colors. This is like just tranquility from Diamine. I hope the dip pen can reach all the way down into there. Ooh, that's really lovely. Looks kind of more like a reddish, like winey color, but really nice. And I know this dip pen isn't necessarily the best to write with because it's so small and close down to the paper, but I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. Wow, that is a really, really nice shimmer color. It looks kind of, well, I did see it at the bottom, the shimmer particles, but it looks kind of, coppery, goldy, really lovely. Yeah, I can never go wrong with purple. Sometimes purple's a little bit, too light for me, but that's not necessarily wrong. It's just I like really bright, bold purple. Wow, and I love this shimmer. This is a really great shimmer ink, Diamine. Wow, this is a great, great ink. Very nice. Wow, it seems to be drying up pretty fast, or at least the shimmer part is drying up fast. This is a really, really good ink. It's a nice winner, and it does, yeah, oh wow, and I can see wow, it's like as soon as it dries, the shimmer starts coming through. This is a really, really cool ink. Nice. Just go back over that letter a little bit for more colors. It's like I didn't tell them what inks to, particularly like look for, or that I would prefer. Apparently you're allowed to do that. Some people have, but it seems like they were kind of reading my mind, and they like got the colors I really like, and I'll just do a quick little writing sample with it now. Next up is going to be Plum, also from Diamine. This fortunately is not a shimmer ink, but Plum is such a bright, happy color of purple. Wow, that's really nice. It looks more on the pinky side of purple, but I do agree plums can be kind of that color. And this looks like a nice wet ink. I not even having to re-dip it yet. This is like really, it's a lovely, bright, like happy color, suggesting spring and plums and fruit. This is really good. And I do like pink inks as well. Well, in certain kinds of pink, it has to be legible, of course, and I do prefer, dark and bright pinks, not so much that, girly girl Barbie type of bubblegum pink, but this is, wow, I'm really liking this. I might get a full bottle, and I will be showing all the writing samples of the different inks in my notebook at the end of the video to kind of save time. But wow, I'm really, really enjoying this ink. Nice. And it goes down the same, well, this is not the same type of paper as the stock cards, I don't think, but this is like a really, lovely shade. It's kind of, I guess, in the like medium, like border territory, but between like purple and pink. This is like a really lovely color. And then I will, write the name with the dip pen, just Plum, Diamine. Yeah, it's not too bad getting all the way down into the bottle. Oh, something just dropped on another swatch card. I'll have to deal with that later. Plum, Diamine. But I guess that means this is a really nicely wet ink. Yeah, this is a great ink. Yeah, I don't know if this is feathering or if it's just because it's such a wet ink and so much is, clinging to this. Maybe I should just turn that swatch card over and swatch it on the other side. That would probably be better, and I'll now do the writing sample. This is going to be the first of the two reds. This is Coral, and this is also from Diamine. Again, they were kind of like, reading my mind, knowing I absolutely love Diamine inks. Oh, and that Tranquility is drying up so nicely. The shimmer is just like poking through so well. This is Coral. Let's see how well this ink is going to go down. Yeah. Well, I know Coral isn't, bright necessarily in your face red. This looks more like a pinkish orange color. It's going to have to see how it lays down with the thicker ink at the top of the swatch. Yeah, this definitely isn't red like I assumed it would be. It's more like orangey, pinky color with maybe like a very, very light red, but it definitely does not look like it's on the red spectrum like I assumed it was going to be. It reminds me a little bit of Fruit Cocktail. I think there was day 16 from the recent Inkvent calendar. Not totally. Like the one major difference is this is not a scented ink. I don't think any of these inks are scented. They didn't mark it. But yeah, this is definitely a surprise. I didn't think of Coral as this, kind of an orangey color. I was thinking it was going to be more red, but sometimes the way they're reflected in the bottle with the the light and the plastic obscuring it can be a little bit deceiving. But it's not a bad color. Just I think I was expecting something a little bit different. Now I'm going to put the That's not wanting to balance on the skeleton, the pen holder I have. And coral diamond. I know it's getting all over the sides of the dip pen, but who cares about that? My hands are getting messy anyway. Coral diamond. Yeah, this is very kind of like a lighter orange. I know I sound like a broken record just trying to fill up space, but it's a nice color. I don't know if I would get a full bottle, but yeah, it's always fun to try new things. Diamond. Yeah, nice, but maybe not necessarily my style for a full bottle. The fourth ink is also from Diamine. Surprise, surprise. This is Red Luster, and it is a shimmer ink, which means I'm going to have to constantly like shake it up between applying stuff to the swatch card and maybe even doing the dip pen a little bit. Just get that out of the way. Is that in the camera? Yeah, you can kind of see that. Ooh, that's a nice red. I like the shimmer particles going down. It's kind of more my definitely shade of red. I like, bright, vibrant, easy to read, kind of like in your face type of red. And I mean, I'm getting more into the, the more like muted brownish undertones, the kind of like sour cherry type of red. But I think I still most prefer this like beautiful, I'm not sure why that's going down. Like there must be a thing missing in the swatch card, just a little thing like piece of paper ripped out, but I definitely prefer this beautiful kind of like red color. It's kind of announcing, hey, I'm here, which is one of the reasons many people love the color red. There's nothing shy or subtle about that color. It's like ready or not, here I am. That's why it's the color of like leftist political movements, and just blood red, and just like so many. There's a reason like red is like symbolic of so many, bright, vibrant, like take no prisoners, hiding in your face movements. This is like I'm really liking this. This is a nice color. I might get a full bottle of this. I can't say enough about how much I'm really liking this. Now, just like do a little bit on the paper to like get rid of the excesses. I do like abstract art. I'm not just like doing this for no rhyme and reason, and I'll just, put the dip pen in and write the sample. I know I should say more intelligent things and different things when I'm, doing these swatching videos. Yeah, that's going down a really, really still bright, vibrant red. I think this might be my favorite ink so far, although Tranquility that's probably tied for this one. This is really, really gorgeous. Total winner. I'm glad I decided to, it cost nothing, of course, but I'm glad I decided to, take the chance and get this like 8-pack of inks, which I had no idea what they were going to be. Just, try something new, get out of your comfort zone. And this is really, really nice. I can tell already I would definitely want a full bottle of this beauty. And finally, I'm going to start going through the blues. This is Sailor Shikiori Kasasagi. Hopefully I didn't mangle the Japanese pronunciation. I have never used any Sailor inks yet to date, although I still have 5 free samples of various types of blue I got with my first ever Sailor, the Gold Spot exclusive Cobra Blue, which I got in a broad nib. Since it's a Japanese broad, it writes closer to a Western medium, but it's a 0.6 millimeters. This is like not shimmer inks. I don't think Sailor got into shimmers until fairly recently. They're a lot more traditional. Like that's not much of a surprise because Japanese in general are more traditional. Let's see how this is going to go down. It looks kind of dark in the bottle, and from what I remember seeing of writing samples and blogs and stuff, and on other places, it looked kind of on the darker side of blue. So okay, that's looking more like definitely more like a blue black than like a traditional bright happy blue, even like closer to black than actual blue. That's very, very different. And I don't know if I'm seeing kind of like a greenish undertone as well, or that's just a trick of the light, but this is definitely a very like bold statement, like in your face color. Maybe not necessarily the kind I would have bought, but wow, this is it's a nice ink. I like it. I'm gonna have to see how it turns out in the writing sample if it seems more black than blue. And of course, lots of things depend on the kinds of like nibs you're writing with. You know, ink that looks like super tiny and light and you can barely read that, maybe, you know, pink or neon green or something, and an extra fine or a fine suddenly looks so much like different, like kind of almost a revelation when you put it in a like a broad nib or bigger. Let's see how I'm going to do the dip pen. Just let that brush in there for the meantime, Sailor. Hopefully I'm not going to misspell it. Shikiori Kasasagi, and it looks very much like a blue black. I have no idea how Sailor inks behave in real life because I've never used them before. If you know they like dry quickly or they're like they stay wet a long time. This it's getting all over the frickin' dip pen, and I would like talk a good game. I don't like wasting ink, but you know it's a learning process. How far into the bottle am I supposed to get the pen, or am I supposed to lean the bottle as I write with it? So just leave it so I don't misspell it. Shikiori Kasasagi. Sailor. It's going down much more, black than blue. But, that's obviously, I'm sorry, I'm saying obviously again, I knew that from what I was, writing with Shikiori Kasasagi. I mean, I haven't been deliberately avoiding Sailor inks. I would love to, try them, but just, you can't get all the ink you want, you have to kind of limit yourself, and maybe like wait a little bit until you've used up like some of your bottles so you can start getting new inks. But yeah, I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing so far. Kasasagi. And of course, since, they're Japanese, they're like tend to be more formulated to write in Japanese pens, which in general are thinner than like Western nibs. As I was just saying, the broad is closer to a medium and the extra fine is closer to a needlepoint. But wow, this is a very nice ink. It does look, more black because the dip pen is this particular dip pen is a thinner nib. But I'm now just going to do the writing sample and show you guys all that at the end. The next ink is from also another brand which I have never tried yet to date. This is Ferris Wheel Press. I've heard a lot of people claiming on Reddit, surprise, surprise, I take them with a dump truck of salt, that their inks are kind of dry. I mean, even if that might be true, a stopped clock is always right twice a day. That doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. Some people might like or want or appreciate dry inks. For example, if you're using paper that's not so fountain pen friendly, or I guess sometimes you might need to put it in a pen that's like writing a little bit wet to kind of like slow down that flow and get it to writing more of the way you want to. So, and this is storied blue. I don't remember if I mentioned that already. I had to rinse out my cup of water. It was getting too, colorful. What is this? Oh, that's just a bubble I seeing. So let's see. This is going to go down. This is on the back of the card that got messed up with an ink drop. So this looks kind of like a grayish green, but it does, say blue on it. So it's on the lighter side of the blue spectrum. That's very, different than what I was expecting, but it did look a little bit light even through the bottle. I'm not sure why this is writing so wet, just because maybe I just was rinsing out the paintbrush and it hasn't fully dried yet, but I'm a little bit light for my taste. Not sure I would, want to write with this all the way through, but, we'll see what happens when I, actually put it down with a dip pen. No, that's still not doing anything to make it write or show up at a darker tone. Maybe it's because I had to flip around the other side of the stock card, and so it's like registering, I guess, a bit differently. It's like laying down, like, not the same way it would on, more of like a paper-like consistency on the other side. Sorry about that. Just put the brush off to the side. And storied blue. I know a lot of people complained about Ferris Wheel Press. Some people are just natural contrarians, and sometimes, oh, this ink brand is our current board darling on the subreddit. Like, how dare you say anything like bad about that, or how dare you say anything good about like Ferris Wheel Press. Storied blue. Yeah, that's definitely looking more like a green. Don't worry, those inks are capped up that are like falling down on the windowsill beside me. I told you I don't have the best place to do like filming. Yeah, I'm not seeing much blue at all in this ink, and I am, getting a feel for its, kind of being a little bit dry. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're saying it's blue. Maybe it's storied blue means like green or something like that, but this is definitely much lighter than I personally prefer to write with. So, yeah, it's still on the dip pen. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would, want an entire bottle of this storied blue. I'll do a longer writing sample at that. The penultimate ink is another one from Sailor. This is Ink Studio 341. Based on what I had, Googled online, it looked kind of more in the blue-black region. But looking at it through the bottle, I'm seeing kind of like a greeny shade, but maybe, again, that's just a trick of the light. You know how those things can be. Oh, did I? I'm sorry, I forgot to rinse off the paintbrush first. Ooh, that's a really, really nice teal color. I was right. I did see some green peeking out from inside the bottle. I'm liking this so far. Really nice. It's laying down well. Of course, it looks even better when there's more ink laid down on the swatch. I mean, I probably would never really, like, realistically, practically use it on a day-to-day abroad nib, but I'm starting to like the idea of getting some more broads just to be like more artistic and like creative and such with inks. Now, this isn't going down so much darker as I'm putting more, just slightly. It's not, I know I don't think this is an ink that would naturally get like super bright and dark and saturated. This is just the way it is, but I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I don't think I would use this in a like a finer nib unless like the writing sample is something like really like unexpected. Yeah, that's going down the same type. Well, not the same type. It's a little bit darker in the dip pen. Frequently, I've found inks that look a little bit lighter upon like swatching with the paintbrush. They turn out like darker and a little bit different looking when I'm actually like, writing them with the dip pen. Sailor Ink Studio 341. Yeah, maybe I would get a full bottle of this now that I'm seeing how it actually looks when I'm writing with, some kind of a pen. Studio 341. Yeah, it's not the same as writing with a metal nib, but this is working so much better than when did try to use my metal dip pen. That came out like, it was kind of it bombed. It didn't really reflect the ink's true color as well as it did when I wrote it later with a dip pen. 341. Yeah, it's a very, very nice shade of teal. And last but not least, the 8th and final ink sample. This is Noodler's Legal Blue. I have not yet used any Noodler's. I tried briefly to use the infamous Bay State Blue in one of the free see-through eyedropper Moofed pens, which I got from Fountain Pen Revolution, but like for whatever reason, maybe I should go back and try again. It just, that pen would not write at all, and I was kind of disappointed, although even I had heard like terror stories about that ink. If you have one dedicated pen, particularly a cheap free pen, maybe it wouldn't be so bad, and I'd really wanted to use that brilliant blue, but that was pretty much my only experience. And yeah, of course, I know people at Reddit kind of lost their minds over Noodler's. I mean, I agree, some of his like name choices and labels, they were, a bit like disingenuous, like tone deaf kind of, but like they're acting like the entire brand is like poison, and if you use it, oh, you must be a terrible, like irreversible bigot or something like that. But like, who cares? Like, use the inks and shop at the stores you want to. Like, don't let freaking like politics or what you believe is like their politics by association or something like that. Just like buy where you want to do. Like, don't let like people on Reddit tell you like you're a terrible, disgusting, horrible person because you're using certain brands they think are supposed to be like canceled for evermore. So this is Legal Blue. Don't want to get the names wrong when I, write them out. That was embarrassing when I did that for day 5 of Inkvent. Oh, yeah, that does kind of match what I saw inside the bottle. This is a lovely blue. It's kind of like an electric-ish neon blue, not the like brightest, darkest blue, but wow, this is really the kind of color I like. I could see myself using this, and this would be, great for artwork too. It seems like a wet ink. I have like heard Noodler's inks do tend to be kind of saturated, and some people want to, avoid them in certain pens and on certain papers because they're more likely to like bleed through and ghost onto the other side than certain like other ink brands. But wow, I'm really, yeah, really liking this. This is the perfect shade of blue for me. It's a little bit out of the ordinary. I mean, no offense to whatever ink brands like make blues, but sometimes it just seems like they're the exact same color, maybe just a tiny like incremental like bit of difference you can barely discern between all these different blues by different companies. They just, throw different names on them. This is like a really lovely kind of blue. I don't know if this is like more of like a greeny undertone I'm seeing in it too, or that's just because it's such a, a different kind of blue. But yeah, I'm definitely a huge fan of this already. I'm not going to let idiots on Reddit like tell me, oh, don't ever use Noodlers because bigot and you must be canceled. And I'm not a conservative at all. I'm very far to the left, like in the old school way, not the like the modern day TikTok way. But I just don't like to get political on my channel because I don't want to risk offending viewers who might hold differently. And that's not how adults communicate. They, respect that not everyone shares the same views they do, and they don't like presume, oh, you must be a terrible person if you're not like 100% in agreement with me on like every single issue. And I'm just going to write the name with a dip pen now. Yeah, that's still, you can see far. That's good enough into the lens. I really am so long overdue to finally get an overhead Noodler's Legal Blue. Yeah, and it's writing just as well as it went down with the paintbrush. Nice. Oh, hopefully it will all fit on this one line. I'll try to write smaller. Legal Blue. You switch hands to make it fit into smaller print on the remaining of the lines. Yeah, I know most people cannot write with both hands. I think I write smaller letters and finer like with my right hand, but I guess I'm more like artsy in a creative, I guess, like more honest and emotional when I write with my left hand. I would love to do a video about like handiness and stuff. Thank you very much for watching all the way through to the end. This is what all the different swatches look like. So far, I think I said my favorite is the Noodler's Legal Blue. That is just such a fun, like original, like unique, creative shade of blue. I love the red luster. As it's starting to dry, it looks less like the like bright, happy red as it looked like at first. It looks more like a somewhat, subtle, like winey cherry shade of red, but nothing wrong with that. I like both types of red. A plum diamine, that's a favorite too. That tranquility diamine, that's awesome. And I did like the coral a lot too, even though it's a little bit lighter than I prefer. And this would be great. The Sailor Shikiori Kasasagi for a more professional settings. In these two, the Sailor Studio 341, that's nice. I would probably have to use that in a medium nib and up. And then the Ferris Wheel Press Storied Blue, maybe not such a huge like fan of that one, but just because it's a little bit on the dry side and a little bit lighter. And these are just the writing samples I wrote with them. As you can see, they look, very nice. They all, well, not all of them wrote well. The Ferris Wheel Press was, you can see a little bit drier. I mean, I guess it is true their inks do tend to be a little dry, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, and maybe not all of their inks are dry, but so far this has been like a really nice winner of a free mystery ink sample I got, and the video turned out so long I'm not gonna bother putting the pen part in it. That's gonna be saved for another video. So thanks for watching. Bye.